Hello, everyone. Welcome to the concluding review for the book of the month titled Love is the Way by Bishop Michael Curry. Welcome you to the concluding part and thank you so much for sticking with us till today. Okay, so today we'll be covering chapters 10, 11, and 12 and the conclusion. I want to thank all our reviewers, so dive straight into it. Okay, so chapter 10 is titled The Great Relationship Revival. The question says, how can love overcome what divides us and move us forward together? The author mentioned that when we turn the blind eye to pain, that only results in more pain. And the profound thing about what he said was, whatever feature it is that we have is going to be shared by all of us. So we all indeed have a shared future. Whoever we are, wherever we reside, we all occupy the earth together. And whatever decisions we make as humans or as countries, they all affect everybody, directly or indirectly. It says that we can't love each other if we don't listen to each other, if we don't know each other or trust each other or heal our individual pains, which then results in us healing our collective pains. We need to listen to each other. That is the first step. And our stories are the most important in this case. Our stories have power. And when one side is heard over the other, or when one side is given importance over the other, therein lies injustice. And this only births a lot of more pain. And that pain now results in something else that is totally insidious. So telling our stories removes us from it. It's like you're telling the story and it gives you power. So telling our stories and not just harboring it and putting it in our heart, making us more resentful and bitter. Telling our stories gives that power to us and it stops us from being alone. And then we share that burden. And when we share that burden, you realize how much people care. So we are encouraged to talk because we are important. Our stories are paramount. Our stories are very, very important. And that is how we are able to build this great relationship, because we can't say we love people we don't know. We need to relate. We are relational in nature, so we are encouraged to do that, and that is how love overcomes, and that is how we stop the division and move forward, by listening to each other, by trusting each other, by sharing our stories. And that's the conclusion for chapter 10. So chapter 11, the title says the still more excellent way. It was referring to Apostle Paul in one of his letters. And then the question for this chapter is, does love mean avoiding politics? And this is a dicey one, because a lot of Christians like to stay in the sanctity of our worship centers and not get involved and just be praying for the people in power from afar and let the Holy Ghost be doing his work. But does love mean we have to avoid politics? Is politics not for us? But let's remember Joseph, for example, when he had to, rule over Egypt in some way, when the king gave him that power because God willed it that way. So that is a form of politics. He had a position, a political position. So God can use anybody in that position to make change. But the author mentioned that engaging with politics on the terms of politics, which we know is deadly and just dangerous and just dirty, that will only result in a lost battle. We need to approach politics with love, and that can be weird. Like, what is this one saying? Where's this one coming from? When you don't speak their language, you're not as savvy and as quick as they are. But that power to just love instead of being, you know, dominated by the feelings of winning, or okay, either I win or I lose. It's not black and white. There's more power in approaching it with love. And almost all religions teach us not to do unto others what we don't want done unto us, which is something that we can all agree on. So we're taught to, commence from a point that connects us, or something that we can all agree on. Let's move from there, instead of imposing our own ideologies on all human beings, and forgetting that they have, as much as we believe in our own faith, as much as it drives us, that's what drives them. That's their identity. And we need to learn, like we said in chapter 10 before, to listen and engage, constructively engage with an open mind, instead of being closed and just hearing to hear, just so we can rebut and tell them what the real point is, which is our own understanding of the point. It might not be the point in the first place, you understand? So we're asked to to not avoid politics and just approach it from a place of love. So we are told to just agree on the positives, not focus too much on the negatives, not focus on the things that divide us, but build on the things that connect us, build on the things that we all agree on. And we don't have a monopoly on wisdom. We should always aim to build bridges instead of walls. We should always aim to build bridges instead of winning. It's not just about us and our own winning. And we should stop underestimating the power of love when it comes to all subjects, not just politics. So that's chapter 11. And then chapter 12, the title is Hope, Help, and Healing. This is the final chapter of the book. And to commit to seeking the well-being of others is what the central message is, which is what we already know that the definition of love is. When we're more concerned about the well-being of other people, not just over ourselves and not just ourselves. I mean, when we share the concern of other people, we care about ourselves as well. So we should always hope for the best, help others sacrificially, and healing will come to us all by living an unselfish life. I think we in trying to get the advantage, in trying to be the one that survives, none of us survive. We should aim to that, okay, everybody involved should come out at the end unscathed, instead of saying, oh, let me look out for myself alone. By looking out for our individual selves is why the world is upside down the way it is today. Everyone is greedy. In the UK, for example, there are close to 600 more billionaires in the last 2 years, and millions are in poverty because a few fine, they're innovative, they do things, but we don't know all the story involved. And we know some of the most hardworking people are the poorest. So when we live an unselfish life, when we pay workers what they do, when we treat people fairly, when we don't take advantage of them, when we recognize their efforts, all those little things are what leads to a just world, a livable world, and not, the corruption filling the land. So we're told 3 tips that can help us moving forward in living that unselfish life, in hoping, helping, and healing. And these are to be realistic in our goals. Sometimes we have these grandiose ideas because we have to aim high, and then we don't start at all because we've not aimed high enough, because everybody is saying you should not be myopic or mediocre. Start where you are with what you've got. At the end of the day, you owe God answers, not any other human being who thinks they know the best for you when they are still figuring out their own lives as well, their own imperfect life as well. So have that in mind. And then the second one is to be loving. We need to accept ourselves and then others, because a lot of times we don't even know where we are coming from, so everything triggers us. But when you love yourself, which means you accept who you are, you know who you are, and then you go from there and then take it back to being realistic. Because once you know yourself, then you know what you're capable of. You're not stuck with all these ideas of what you think you can or can't do. But when you truly know yourself, you move from there, and then that itself shows up as loving you and loving other people. And then the third one is that we shouldn't wait. We shouldn't put a calendar and start planning of one thing we want to do in 2 years. Start now with what you have, with who you are, with where you are. Do it now. Get up from where you are sitting right now and just do whatever it is you can to hope in other people better, and in yourself and in God, and to help in any capacity you can, and to heal yourself and heal other people along the way. So in conclusion, change is not easy. Everyone struggles at some point or the other, and sometimes our leaders, even in church, might not communicate that efficiently, but we should understand that they have struggles, they have things they're struggling with, and at some point or that other, like, we all go through that, we all have that we struggle with. And we're told that we have soul companions all around us. They are not isolated in a church building or in our little circle of friends. We have soul companions all over the world. There's somebody in the corner of the world you've never met that you won't believe how much love you have for each other, if only we're able to open our minds, to people that don't share just our own values. Because what we do is that we isolate ourselves, and we're called to go into the world. But what we are doing is we're keeping it safe. We stay our little stories, write our little, and then stay in that corner of the world and think the world, is sorted that way. It's not so. Let's be open to understand that everyone's got struggles and not be isolated, which is the way of only that we can love people truly. Because what's the point of loving people who can only love us in return? We only do good to people who can only do good in return to us in the future. This is not the way of love. Let us do it as if we'll get nothing back. How much can we do for God really? And look at all God has done for us. What is the point of loving people who can only love us in return? In doing good to people who can only do good to us in return? This is it makes no sense. Then you've already gotten the reward of your love. We are all deserving of love, and you shouldn't love based on people's love for you. People's love for you should not be a prerequisite for you to love them in return. We should love regardless, and we should understand that we never walk alone. Everyone needs someone, even you. Everybody needs someone. That person you're looking at across the street that you think they've got you all figured out, you won't believe the isolation, the just the loneliness. Let us just reach across and then just, a helping hand, a smile, something, and just let them understand that there is love in the world because you're in the world. Can somebody know that there's love in the world because you're in the world? That would be wonderful. Yes, so let's be hopeful, let's be helpful, and let us heal the world by healing ourselves and our neighbors. So have a wonderful, wonderful week, and go read the book, Love is the Way by Bishop Michael Curry. God bless you.